All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. So I just tried to do a live video, but I was actually having some connection issues. So there was a lot of lagging going on, and I apologize for that. So I am redoing this whole stream, and hopefully there's not going to be any more issues. Please understand that I have a life outside of the internet and I am a busy lady. So if I have to cut this stream short, I do apologize. But I want to start off by saying this. So about 2 weeks ago, I did a live stream talking about the whole Vic Mignogna controversy and situation. And I put in my 2 cents. I didn't really get to address everything that I wanted to talk about. And um, I really do want to talk about that, all of my untouched on topics and thoughts and things. But also, I want to do kind of a whole video dissecting this situation, kind of like in the style of Tea or Tea Spill here on YouTube, where they just display the facts, show both sides of the situation, then offer their input. That's what I want to do. However, finding the time to do all that is gonna be a little bit difficult. But I'm gonna try to do that. So if you are interested in that kind of video, look out for that. But I will say it is gonna take some time just because the whole situation is really hard to keep tabs on everything because there is a new development every single day. Like literally, there was always something happening. And uh, it's going to take me a little while to gather all my notes, to really illustrate all sides of the coin, but I am going to reply to the comments left in my other video. I did say I was going to address them later. I ended up putting the video on unlisted or private just because I was receiving some rather unsavory PMs, and I was not, I just, unlike some of these unnamed people, I think you know who I'm referring to, I don't screenshot these things and send them to Homeland Security. I just put them on block and don't interact with them. That's how you deal with some unsavory people, you know. So, but yeah, I put it on unlisted, and also just because I didn't want there to be an onslaught of comments that I wouldn't be able to respond to, because I really do want to respond to them. Because here's my thing, not just with the Vic situation, but really YouTube in general. You can't really have a discussion with people anymore. They say, if you disagree with them, they throw buzzwords. And, that's not just the kick Vic side. That's also the I stand with Vic side. I really do appreciate the hard work that, channels like Yellow Flash and Umbrella Guy and Senpai's Home and so many of them have been putting, trying to update with the latest and what's going on. Because like I said, there is a lot to cover and there's always something happening. But at the same time, um, you know, as with people on both sides, their views have been pretty biased. They stand with Vic, and as such, they are interpreting certain tweet and things to mean something that they're not, or they're being taken out of context, or they're using things that I just feel is unfair in this situation. And the same with Kickvik's side. There were so many pictures and comments and things that are being taken out of context. They're being misconstrued, exaggerated, and really, I myself got a little heated in the last video. And, but really, I just want to explain my point of view. I want to try to, bring both sides to come to, a little middle ground and just calm the hell down. Because look, here's the thing. Many of us in support of Vic have stated this plenty of times, and I've said this plenty of times myself, but I'm going to reiterate here. I stand with Vic because I believe in innocent until proven guilty. If he is proven to be guilty of what his accusers are saying that he's guilty of, I am not going to support him anymore. I will, now don't misunderstand me, because I will be heartbroken if this is the truth, because this is a person I have looked up to for a long time. I, of course, will be upset, but I'm not going to just stand by and, die with this ship, I'm not going to go down with the ship. I'm not a Starfleet captain. I know when to call it quits. So if there is undeniable, irrefutable evidence against Vic showing he is guilty of what he's being accused of, I'm not going to stand by him. I will be sad. And I will, offer my major condolences to all of his victims. But until then, I just want the legal system to do its job. And that's why I'm asking, instead of attacking every single I Stand With Vic video, and instead of attacking every single Kick Vic video, just, reach that middle ground and wait. Wait for the whole case to be over. Put in your input. Now, I will say, I will call out people who are spreading misinformation or trying to misconstrue statements, because I have seen that from both sides. And I'm not going to sit back and let that happen. Of course, I'm going to call you out. Okay? That's something I'm going to make very clear here, because there's been a lot of that going on. Guys, I don't understand why the internet always has to be so polarized. I get that it happens, it's internet culture, but really, I really miss when people could just sit down and discuss their thoughts without throwing insults at each other, right? But that's a rant for another time. I'm going to go into the comments from my last video and reply to these people. So one of them was from Destructive Criticism. He says, actually, there is proof that he gave his legitimate phone number to an underage trans female in the mid-2000s at AX in Anaheim, California. I believe it happened in 2006, and they checked with the wireless provider. Vic was indeed the owner of that number from sometime in the early 2000s until 2016, yada, yada, yada. While it is possible that the individual in question was consenting in getting his number, that doesn't negate the fact that it's still illegal to attempt to engage an underage person in a sexual relationship regardless of consent. In California, the age of consent is 18, and the individual in question was either 15 or 16 at the time. Okay, first of all, absolutely, I agree with you. It is not okay, absolutely not okay, for a teenager to be taken advantage of in this way. I'm not arguing with you against that. What I'm saying is that while Vic giving out his number allegedly to fans to talk with them, while I think that was not the wisest choice he could have made, I'm saying, I don't think it was done in a sexual manner. Because the person themselves admitted, this is from the I can't talk, the ANN article, right? They never talked about anything sexual. It was a group for fans to contact Vic, to talk about his voice acting, to talk about his experience playing characters. It was never, never about anything sexual. And here's something else that I'd like to add on to that subject. I have been to many, many meet and greets with anime voice actors, right? You know what I've gotten? I've gotten personal emails, I've gotten personal Skypes, and I have friends, for goodness sakes, that have received personal cell phone numbers to some of these actors, even when they were minors. And you know what they use them for? To give them advice, to extend their friendship, to be friends, not to take advantage of these people sexually. Could it be seen? Weird, creepy even. Yes, I'm not denying you on that. But I'm saying it is wrong of you to assume that that's what this whole thing was for. Because it flat out isn't. If the person themselves explicitly says they never talked about anything sexual, they only talked about anime and Vic's roles in voice acting, and that's it, how are you saying that he's propositioning a minor? You see what I'm saying here? Not to mention, I've received phone numbers from YouTubers. Yeah, I've had YouTubers give me a private chat line to talk to them and other fans. So yes, this phone number could have been a line that belonged to Vic. Was it his personal cell phone? Was it a chat line that was paid for in his name, like the YouTubers that I used to have regular conversations with? You see, that's the distinction. And that's why it gets misconstrued. And that's what I have a problem with. Okay? I am not saying that grooming a minor is okay. Hell no. And I'm speaking as someone who was groomed as a minor. Okay? It's disgusting. But what Vic was doing, a little weird, definitely not grooming. Definitely not. So I'm going to respond to some of the other ones here. Let's see. Something like that is one of those things, like smiling or waving towards a kid, that just inherently has a risk for men, no matter how innocent the gesture is. There's a point where it's expected that guys should know not to even risk doing something like that to be misconstrued. I think it sometimes can be a little too paranoid, but the act is perfectly valid. And this person also says, hell, I'm sure that getting her hero's phone number made that girl's day. Yeah, it is a risk for men to wave and say hello because, to be fair, guys, as women, we can't read your minds. And you guys can't read our minds as men, right? You don't know our comfort levels, and we don't know your intentions. But here's the thing. This was not done on a dark street while these little girls are walking home with their parents, or where they're walking alone. This is in a well-lit public space, security cameras watching, people with their phones out watching. This was not Vic praying on a little girl and saying, here's my number, you better take it. You better call me. You better send me some nude pics. That's not what was happening here. Okay? So, yes, giving out his alleged personal phone number to a minor, a little weird, but not sexual assault, not predatory, in my opinion. You are welcome to disagree with that. Okay? Now it says, if this was just an awesome gesture towards a fan, why aren't several of his fans coming forward saying he gave them his number? You can sign things, take pics, give them a piece of clothing or jewelry, but giving out your number generally means you wish to continue engaging someone on a personal level outside of the context of the con. Exactly. That's exactly what happened with my friend, who made lots of great connections with these older actors. And this is when she was a young girl. And I'm not going to tell you her story, but I will say this. It is because of those connections that she made with these actors that led to her life being saved. Okay? If she ever feels like sharing her story and gives me permission to, I will gladly do so. But I'm not going to tell you her story without her permission. But I will say, just because it's a little weird doesn't mean that it's inherently bad. It doesn't mean that he's trying to, get them to have phone sex with him later. You understand? And maybe some fans do have his number or have that old chat line, but it's defunct now. Right? And, if he gave them out to certain people just because he wanted to learn more, because here's something. We don't know if this girl was like, I really, really want to be a voice actor. I really want some advice. Can you please tell me? Can you help me? Can you guide me? Because that's exactly happened with me. When I was really serious about voice acting a few years ago, every time I went to meet and greet with these voice actors, I would ask them, please, where can I reach you to get this kind of advice? Or is there somewhere that, I can talk to you later? And they gave me those personal emails. They gave me those personal Skypes. They gave me that chat line. Okay? So again, as I've stated multiple times now, it's a little weird. I don't consider it to be something predatory, to be something malicious. Okay? So we're going to move past this comment because everything that this person has said, it's just based on what was found in the ANN article, which I have a problem with the ANN article. I'll get to that in a little bit. Okay. So, Bobo. I remember this person's comment very distinctly, and I'm going to address it here. It says, the guy sounds like a creep bag, and if it walks and talks like a creep, ... There has been way too many accounts of this guy acting inappropriately. Are they all lying? If you defend Vic, you are basically defending convicted creeps like Bill Cosby and Harvey Weinstein. People have been letting Vic's behavior slide for over a decade, and it's finally caught up to him. Here's what I have to say about that. First of all, just because you experience or interpret rather this behavior of his, hugging and kissing fans, a general human connection, a general human way of showing that you care about someone, if you find that creepy, fine, you're allowed to interpret it that way, but it does not definitely mean that it is creepy for everybody else. You know why? Because there's something as different cultures, okay? I come from a culture where we hug and kiss everybody. Even extended family members that I don't even fucking know. I give them a hug and a kiss. That's how we show respect, love, everything, right? There are plenty of northern states where you hug and kiss somebody as a greeting. Hello, hey, how you doing? Mwah, mwah. Now, here's the thing. If you come from a culture where you're like, get away from me, and you don't want hugs, you don't want kisses as greetings, fine. But here's the thing. You don't just sit back and let this person come on up here and stamp all over your personal space. You tell them. These kids all had working vocal boxes as far as I can tell, right? They could all clearly see he was going up and hugging and maybe pecking fans on the cheek. They did not speak up. Not to mention that most of these minors have parents with them, or there are parents around them, even if they're not their own. No parent has come forward in this entire situation to express discomfort with what Vic was doing. Now, why do you think that is? Is it because an entire generation or various generations of different parents are like, well, hugging and kissing, it's a little questionable, but I guess it's con culture. Are they just, pushing it off? No, they didn't see anything wrong with it. If these kids have personal issues where they do not want to be touched or hugged, maybe they have sensory issues, maybe they are germaphobe like me, and they just don't want to be touched, you tell that person. You say, hey, I'd rather not. Hey, can I just get a handshake? Hey, can I just pose with you? I don't want you to hug me. It is your personal responsibility. And I'm not victim shaming here. Don't you try to twist that shit. Okay? I am not victim blaming here. But you have a personal responsibility because unless that person can read your mind, okay, they're going to continue to do the same act over and over and over and over and over and over and over until you tell them no. Now, as far as Vic supposedly having tons of accounts against him saying that he was acting inappropriately, here's the only thing I have to say about that, okay? None of them are verified. None of them. Zero. Even the ones coming from convention staff members, right? They all claim that Vic was this rude asshole. He was a diva. He was grabbing ass. He was grabbing people inappropriately. Okay. Well, where's the proof? Do you have a video security footage of it? Do you have a police report? Anything? No, you just let this guy go ahead and grab people by the ass and shove them and be a complete asshole, and you don't do a damn thing? And I'm supposed to believe you? What about this person who came from the same con that you worked at, and they said, oh no, he was great the whole time? Which one are we supposed to believe then? People working the same con have two different viewpoints. You see the problem here? None of them are consistent. The only consistent thing I have seen against Vic comes from, surprise, surprise, his anti-fans. To those of you who are not aware what anti-fans are, let me fill you in. Anti-fans serve just like regular fans, except they hate them. This is a very common thing in my fandom, for the K-pop fandom. They follow their every move, just like a regular fan, right? So they're watching their live videos, they're following them to conventions, they're sitting there on Twitter, reading their every tweet and seeing their every picture. But instead of doing it, with a genuine appreciation of the person, they're doing it as a hate follower. And they're leaving rude ass comments, or they're going to an event and they're completely twisting the truth to paint this man in a bad light. This has been going on since the early 2000s, and we all know where it stemmed from. It stemmed from a yaoi fangirl pushing Vic's limits that they well damn knew he was not going to appreciate, and tried to spin it that he's homophobic. Guys, I don't know why. I don't know why so many people have a hard time understanding. If you come from an Abrahamic religion, or really any religion in the world, pretty much, but mainly Abrahamic religion, they do not support the gay lifestyle. This is not a surprise to anybody. This is coming from a religion that's thousands of years old. It's not going to be liberal. It's not going to be progressive. I'm sorry. It's an older religion. And unless, Jesus comes back soon, or, the other Messiah comes back soon to change the rules, they're still going to be against gay people. But you know what? Here's a surprising fact. Just because they're Christian or Muslim or Jewish, anything like that, doesn't mean that they're not going to treat people who are gay with respect and with love. So just because Vic himself isn't down to bone a gay guy, just because Vic himself isn't down to sign gay smut, doesn't mean that he hates gay people. I wanted you to understand that right now. I am sick of this shit being taken out of context and being twisted. He has defended his gay fans against groups such as the Westboro Baptist Church, extremists who actually want to kill gay people, who want people dead. When has Vic ever said anything remotely like that? Him not signing your gay smut is not the same as him wanting you to end your life or to have your life be ended by somebody else. And this infuriates me. Now, I can understand being offended, being upset that your family is never really going to truly accept you. I get that. I'm speaking as a pansexual person. But you know what? They still care about you. They still love you. This isn't the general situation for everyone. Not everyone is fortunate to have a loving family stand by them even when their beliefs clash. But in general, as far as Vic goes, that's exactly how it is. As he stated, he had many, many young fans confide in him about these issues at home. And he did not spit on them. He treated them with respect, with concern, and he wanted them to know that his God loved them regardless of their different beliefs, regardless of their different lifestyles. And if you can't respect that, if you can't comprehend that, I am so sorry for you. But I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. This is a free country. You can do what you want. But don't you dare try to twist it like it's something malicious, because it is not. Okay? Now, again, going back to Mr. Bo, I'm not defending convicted creeps like Bill Cosby and Harvey Weinstein. You know why? Because there was actual evidence, and the court found them guilty. Vic was found guilty by the court of public opinion before he even had a chance to fight back. I have seen so many people on the Kick Vic side claiming that they're just wanting him to do the right thing, cut off this case, just admit that he was wrong, and it'll all stop. But it won't stop, will it? Because we have all seen this situation happen again and again and again. It never stops until they completely wipe off any chance he has to be a normal person in society. Granted, hate mobs have a place for people that actually deserve it. But we don't know if Vic deserves it, do we? We only have anonymous testimonies. We only have circumstantial, evidence. Not even evidence. We have pictures of people being hugged and kissed by someone that they admired as a teenager. Then 5, 10 years go by and they're like, you know what? That made me uncomfortable. And yes, I know the case has shifted, not so much from fans being uncomfortable to the voice actors speaking out, and I will get to that. But this whole case started on the fans. And that's what a lot of people are still talking about. That's what they cite when they say that Vic is a creep, that he is a predator. They're saying, look at what he did to his fans. Not enough, Sweet Pea. Sorry. Unless he is convicted with, foolproof evidence, like Weinstein, like Bill Cosby. Look, there were some weird places in that case. There were some holes. But overall, there was enough to put them away. And here's the biggest difference between Vic and Cosby, okay? Vic did not rape anybody. No calls, no rape. He did not get anybody date raped. He didn't take advantage of them in that way. As much as you might try to spin these articles to him to be this big sexual predator, there is nothing there. Nothing. So until this court case is resolved, you can still believe him to be whatever you want. But don't you try to keep smearing that like it's a fact. It is your opinion. It is not full on the truth. We will not see the truth until this case is brought to its end. That's all I have to say about that shit, okay? But you're honestly trying to tell me that decades worth of anti-fans shitting on his name because they disliked things about him? Because listen, it doesn't have to make logical sense. Anti-fans don't make sense. They hate somebody for existing, for being themselves. Either because they do something that they're envious of and they want that lifestyle, or because they get opportunities that they wish they could have, or just because they don't like their voice. Because they don't like, how Vic's acting is. They'll shit on him for the rest of his life. I have seen it firsthand. And some of these people, especially if you go back to Dan Fan's video, researching these allegations, researching Vic being called a creep and all these bad experiences, supposedly, some of these fans have even retracted what they said, saying I was a stupid teenager. Well, here's the difference between, not the difference. Here's the biggest thing with that. If you leave an anonymous testimony on a site like Tumblr, it's staying there unless that blog gets shut down or they delete it. So if you were just an angry teenager who didn't have a logical reason for hating an actor and just shat on them because you didn't like them, now people are using that testimony to say, oh, look, this anonymous person from 10 years ago who said that Vic did this to her, even though there's no proof, it's still here. It's earlier records. It must be true. We better believe it. So, a lot of people are saying, are all of them lying? Maybe they're versions of the truth, because lying does have a version of the truth. But how much of that is the full truth? You see what I'm saying here? Do you see what I'm saying? Now, something that the IO9 article does suggest, because there was an unreleased version where Vic responded back, and that is that Vic did cheat on his longtime girlfriend, Michelle. Again, that's really upsetting to hear. And it also makes sense to the statements that Vic released. Here's something that I had a problem with. A lot of people claimed that Vic admitted to these events happening. And that was because he said, I'm sorry if I made anyone uncomfortable and I'm recommitting to God. And I'm getting therapy. I'm getting counseling. But he said, oh, there it is. There's the smoking gun. He's admitting that this happened, and that's why he's going to get help. That's why he's recommitting to God. No, you numbskull. No. He's saying, he's acknowledging that if he hurt anybody, he's sorry. And he's saying, frankly, if someone outed that he was being, unfaithful to his girlfriend, it was probably a slap in the face to him to really face it head on and be like, you know what? You know, I wasn't the best man I could be. I wasn't the most faithful guy. Here I am practicing, or just spreading the love of Jesus, and here I am committing adultery. That's really shitty. I need to go recommit to God. That's what that statement sounded like to me. As far as getting counseling, whoo, the guy has been spit on for a whole damn month, actually more at this point, but back then it was about a month. Are you honestly telling me that if you got onslaught, never-ending hate from all of these people, thousands upon thousands of people who don't even know you and are trying to ruin you, ruin your life, trying to make you admit that you're guilty to something, even if you may not be, and they're just ruining you, ruining your name, making people around you feel uncomfortable because they don't know what to believe? You're honestly telling me that you're not going to need counseling after that? I'm going to need a strong drink and some counseling and a hug, everything, if I was in Vic's place. So him going to counseling did not surprise me. Just because you interpret it to be an admission of guilt doesn't mean that it's an admission of guilt. Okay? Vic has every right to defend himself. He has every right to bring his accusers to come forward and try to prove that what they're talking about is the truth. Just letting a man sit back there and, letting people continue to smear his name and he's just supposed to take it, you consider that the better option? Hell no. And, with Vic's whole case, the reason why it's becoming such a big issue right now is because this is the first time that someone that's been a victim of this kind of hate mob is stepping up against them and saying, hey, you know what? I'm not going to take it. As something that Nick Rekieta has said, this is beyond Vic now. This is way beyond Vic now. He is like, the symbol for what can happen if this tries to go on again in the future. No matter what the outcome of the case is, it's good that it's happening. You know why? Even if Vic is found to be guilty, it shows that people on the internet can, start a change. They can hold people accountable, right? But if Vic is found innocent and all of the claims against him have been proven to be false, this shows that people are going to be held accountable for their actions by spreading lies, by spreading malice. You understand? That's why this is a big issue, guys. That's why. People like Mars Girl can't just sit back and say, oh yeah, he harassed me, or actually no, he didn't. But I'm just here for the victims, hashtag kick Vic, even though there's no proof, hard proof. Let's ruin his life. They can't do that anymore. They can't hide behind, a computer screen and say these things. They're going to be called out on it, taken to court, and they're going to have to defend their ass. That's why this is a big deal, you guys. Okay? Let's move on over here. Boo, 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 boo. Boo, boo, boo. All right. Let's see what this person says. Okay. The last person says, whether you agree with the victims or not, don't tell people to support them to stop. Keep a clear head and be civil. Now, this person wasn't saying this to me. They were saying it to somebody in my comments. But here's what I have to say. I agree with you. I'm not going to tell you don't support Monica. I'm not going to tell you don't support Jamie. You are welcome to support who you believe in. That's fine. Absolutely do that. Because you are standing up for someone that you care about. And that is an admirable thing to do. We're doing the same thing. But you know what? I don't support them being an absolute, uh, nutcase on Twitter. I don't. I don't support the way that Monica was treating fans and threatening them with legal action. I don't support the way that Jamie is constantly trying to instigate the trolls who ask her questions. Now, I will say, at this point, I don't see any reason, any reason why anyone on the I Stand With Vic side would ask them questions, because it's clear by now we're not going to get any. We're not going to get any answers. And, frankly, while I don't consider it harassment, I do consider it annoying as hell to constantly have your Twitter feed filled up with, oh, where's the proof? Where's the proof? Where's the proof? So I can understand them being frustrated. I absolutely can. But you know what you do? You put your account in a private account. You make your tweets protected. That's what you do. If you want the internet to stop bugging you, you close it off. For goodness sakes, that's what the feature is there for. And people might mock you for it. They might call you a wimp or a soy boy. But if that's what it's going to take to get a break from this, a mental break, do it. And I wish these voice actors would just do that. Because you'll still have all of your followers that care about you there. Right? So you can defend and stand up for the people you believe in. I'm not going to tell you not to do that, okay? But at the same time, don't try to smear somebody. And, I encourage everyone on both sides. If you see misinformation being spread, call out the people spreading that misinformation, okay? So if something, like for example, many of Jamie Marchi's tweets or Markey's tweets have been taken and twisted to be truth, like her joke, her sarcasm about her having her husband be a higher up in Funimation. That was spread across as news. It was clearly not news. It was not the truth. She was joking, being sarcastic. But, a lot of these people that are, trying to get the news out fast, they're like, oh shit, Jamie Markey just admitted to this. Well, it's not the truth, though. You always have to double check, guys. And it's the same thing here. If you have evidence of Vic, kissing a fan who was underage and didn't ask for it, and you spread that photo out as truth, and then that fan comes forward and says, hey, that's not what this photo actually was. I was a minor, but I gave my permission and my parents were right there, and I said, please give me a kiss on the cheek. And ANN used that. That's why I had a lot of problems with the ANN article to begin with, because first of all, they took pictures to make it seem like, this big old narrative, right? That Vic was this predator, that he did this, here's the videos and the images to prove it, but they were taken without those people's permission. They were used in a way to make him look bad without those people's permission, and when it wasn't fact. Now later they, amended the article. Fine. But you know what? The way that they wrote that article to demonize any of Vic's supporters, to make them look like the unreasonable ones, to make anybody who, supports Vic to look, like they don't have any, like they're not credible, like they're stupid. I don't appreciate that. Yeah. There's, you can be an online journalist, you can put in your viewpoint, whatever. But your viewpoint, when you are sharing news like this, you better write it in a way where it doesn't look like you're trying to manipulate others. That's what this article was doing. And so was the IO9 article and any article that was recycling information from these two sites. That's why I take it with a grain of salt. One of the biggest things that has changed for me since the last stream I did about 2 or 3 weeks ago is that I've been keeping up with Nick Rekieta and Rekieta Law. And something I need to clear up right now, he is not Vic's lawyer. He has never been Vic's lawyer. He is the owner of his own law firm. He's a sole practitioner in Minnesota. He has a background in this kind of work. He works with cases of all kinds. He's not just some guy on the internet, some Joe Schmo pretending to be a lawyer. He's an actual lawyer. It's all on public record. He has made it available to people who can't seem to find it. And there's no disciplinary records of him. None. People are trying to discredit him for all kinds of things that he's done, but most of it is just not true, or they're just not able to find public records, which is really, I'm not going to comment on that, but it's a little sad. Okay. And, I appreciate Nick because he has been, really showing what could happen. It's all speculation. All of it is speculation. He's not saying this is for sure what's going to happen. I don't know why people don't seem to grasp that. They're not saying that this is what Vic is going to do 100%. This is saying this is what could happen and giving us a realistic view of what needs to be done, how we can help, and he's even expressed it to the other side, to the accusers, saying, please get counsel. Please retain an attorney. Please put aside money because you're going to get served. And these people don't want to hear it. And, that's their choice. But, anyway, I think I've said just about all that I can on this subject for today. I don't even know how long I've been going. Oh, shit, 40 minutes. Well, there you go. Anyway, yeah, that's all I really have to say about this for right now. I am going to try to come back out with that video kind of summarizing everything. You guys know my opinion. Innocent until proven guilty. It is one of the most fundamental things in this country. You need a fair trial. If you've already decided that Vic is guilty in your mind, fine. I'm probably not going to be able to change your opinion. But don't you dare try to make it like it's fact before it has been confirmed, before he has been convicted of anything. That's what I'm going to ask of you. You're welcome to shit talk him on the internet, whatever. But the second that you try to make your shit talking like it's fact and spreading it around, that's what I have a problem with. That's what Mr. Rekieta has a problem with. That's what most of us here have a problem with. So, you're welcome to engage in a civil debate. Whether you're watching this live, whether you're watching this later, of course, I want to engage in a dialogue with you. I want to talk with you and understand your perspective. Okay? Here's something I will not tolerate, though. Any kind of death threat. If I see that, you're deleted. You're gone. If you try to insult people because they have a different viewpoint and you don't want to have a coherent response, I'm not gonna make it available and you're gonna be muted. Sorry. If it's not gonna be constructive to the overall conversation, bye. Because I am sick of this. I am sick of people coming in here, insulting the other because they don't have anything, worth contributing to. Okay? So, guys, whatever you think of this whole situation, whether you stand with Vic, whether you're neutral, whether you're against Vic, talk about it in the comments. Talk about the things that I've talked about in this video. And if you would like to see me do a full-on explanation, summarization of what's going on with this whole situation, tell me some things that you'd like me to discuss in the video, things that I might have missed here, and I will read over them and, maybe I'll put it in the video. Maybe I'll do another live stream and address it here, reply to you there. We'll see. Overall, guys, thank you so much for sitting here and, listening to me rant. I got to touch on a lot more things this time, but there are still some things that I didn't really get to address yet. But, I'm going to save that for later. Can't give away the whole thing right now. This is something I need to get off my chest, especially, with the whole Jesse Pridemore and Todd Habercorn thing. That's another video for another time. Okay. But, Yeah, guys, I think that's about it from me. Let me double check if there's any comments. Nope, no comments. Well, if nobody has anything to ask or say, I think I'm going to end things right here. But thank you again for watching. If you want to stay in the loop, kind of what's happening with Vic. One last thing before I end this, though. Vic has met his GoFundMe goal of $100,000. Now, Vic, need to clarify this because some people will try to twist this into something it's not. Vic did not start this himself. Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law set up this GoFundMe for legal fees. Okay? He is a certified lawyer. He's not trying to scam people out of their money. For goodness sakes, people, I don't know why that kept getting spread around. It's not the truth. And it later got turned into an IOLTA account. An IOLTA account is specifically for legal funds. It's something that they do in Texas. I'm not the best at explaining this. Google it. Or even better, go to the Kickstarter, or not Kickstarter, GoFundMe, and read what Nick has typed. He can explain it better and in a more concise way than I can. Okay? But that makes it certifiable that this is going to Vic's legal defense. It's not being used for a scam or for monetary gain for Nick. Okay? So he has met his goal. And of course, if anybody wants to check out the GoFundMe, if you want to donate it, if you are able to within your means, feel free to. The campaign doesn't end for a while. And Vic's going to need as much of it as he can if, he goes after as many people as Nick is suspecting that he might. We don't know for sure because, again, he's not his lawyer. It's all speculation. Okay? It's just all theories of what could happen. Okay? Whew. All right, so I think that's going to be it for today, guys. Thank you so much again for sticking here with me, listening to my thoughts. I do apologize if I raised my voice a little too much for some people, but, this kind of topic really gets me fired up. I really hate to see people be accused of things falsely. Whether Vic is guilty or not, I don't want to lay that kind of allegation against him and say it's true until the court comes forward and says, yes, it is. Okay? So again, engage in civil discussion in the comments if you feel so inclined. If there's something you want me to discuss in a next live stream about this topic or about Todd, if there's something that you want me to talk about that's not related to Vic, if you just like what I have to say on this subject and you want to hear my thoughts and other things, I do have some other live streams where I talked about some YouTube drama, particularly in the beauty community, because that's where I like to spend my viewership. Feel free to check those out. But with that being said, I think we're going to end things now, guys. Thank you so much again for sticking around. And yeah, y'all have a good day, good afternoon, good evening. Bye, guys. And yes, I'm wearing my Star Trek shirt here. Trekkies, live long and prosper. See you guys. Bye.